Hey, welcome back. Now, this is probably going to be one of the most important videos that you can watch before Slime Rancher 2 comes out. For the very simple reason that Nick Popovich, the CEO of Monomi Park, the developers behind Slime Rancher, actually released a game preview early access FAQ that answers a lot of questions. There are some really important ones, so you just really kind of stick with me and we're going to go through his FAQ together, and that way you are completely up to date. Now, you can also just find this in the description down below if you rather just read it that way. But, I kind of marked out some of the most important parts, and there are really some surprising things that you may want to know in advance. Now, the version that you can see over here is a Word file, but that way I can just kind of mark the most important things out. So first of all, he first introduces himself. Slime Rancher has grown tremendously since we first launched it in 2016, 15 million players. And then he's just, giving us an intro. Now, first of all, when will Slime Rancher 2 be released? Still no release date. He just mentions fall 2022 on Steam, the Epic Game Store, and in-game preview on Xbox Series S and X. So kind of pay notice, there is going to be no PlayStation 4, no PlayStation 5, no Switch, no Xbox One so far, not even the Steam Deck mentioned. So kind of beware with that. So he says once again, which platforms will Slime Rancher 2 support at launch? PC and Xbox Series XS at launch, and no other platforms have been announced at this time. So we can only play on those three consoles, well, those two consoles and a PC. Now, what can I expect in the early access game preview launch of Slime Rancher 2? Well, it's going to be a substantial graphical leap over the original and all the content currently available in a highly polished state, but it will not have all of its features, slimes, environments, items, story, etc. that will ultimately be found in the full game. And while launching into early access game preview means that some features may be incomplete or things may not work as intended, it's our intention that Slime Rancher 2 works as a player would expect as much as possible. We have no intention of delivering updates in a knowingly unstable state or treating our players as Q&A testers instead of customers. I'm really happy to read that because there are some really rough early access games out there that just kind of treat you that way. So we have already seen this in the trailers. It's going to be a very polished game, and this kind of reinforces that. So what are my goals in the early access game preview release of Slime Rancher 2? So Rainbow Island is an intricate place to explore and discovering the best locations for resources, unlocking shortcuts like the ones we saw in the trailer, and hidden paths, and learning where various slime types dwell will help your future adventures in Slime Rancher 2 Futures Update. Now, how will I know when I've reached the end of the game for now? The story is not going to be complete, but you will still be free to continue to develop your conservatory, build gadgets, and hunt down all the treasure pods. So there won't be a real ending to the game when it actually releases, but you can still kind of rummage about, you can still, play like you can in any sandbox, just experiment to your heart's content and do whatever you want. But what is really important is that your save files will actually carry over with each new update to Slime Rancher 2. So you are going to have a seamless transition. You don't always need to start a new playthrough from the very start with each future update. So that is going to be a really, really welcoming thing. Now, how often will you update Slime Rancher 2 with new content? Well, basically there is no real useful information here. There are no definitive dates in place for new updates. They don't even mention how many updates there are going to be. So we have no clue over that part. But what kind of updates are planned for Slime Rancher 2? They will broadly cover 3 areas to varying degrees, adding more of what you already love about Slime Rancher, like new areas to explore, slimes to wrangle, resources to collect, and gadgets to build. So they are going to add new areas, slimes, resources, and gadgets. Completing the story of Slime Rancher 2, because that is not going to be finished when it releases, and learning more about the secrets of Rainbow Island, and finally expanding the potential of Slime Rancher's established gameplay by adding new features not yet seen in Slime Rancher. So essentially we are going to see new features that were never seen in the original base games or even so far in the trailers just yet, and they are going to introduce that in future updates. That is pretty cool, pretty massive, and I'm really curious what they are going to implement. And then we actually have something that I didn't expect that they would release already. The base retail price of Slime Rancher 2 will be $30, $29.99. And then we have one of those questions that you often see in the early access pages on Steam. Will the price of Slime Rancher 2 change after leaving early access game preview? No, the base retail price for Slime Rancher 2 will not change upon full release. Honestly, I don't know how to look at that, because I find if you actually are buying an incomplete game, you should maybe get it at a lower price than you would actually get it at full, when it's completely full release. It kind of depends on how you look at it, but let's move on. Can I pre-order Slime Rancher 2s? No, Slime Rancher 2 is launching into early access game preview, so it can still not be pre-ordered on any platforms. This is nothing new for an early access game. Now then, there is a really large part about the PC system requirements for Slime Rancher 2, so be sure to check this out. But this was already shared on the Steam page, if I'm not mistaken. I covered it in the past when the game was first announced. And then of course, do I need to play through Slime Rancher to enjoy Slime Rancher 2? Well, basically, you can actually kind of decide this for yourself, but there is only one interesting part about this, and this is going to be how the NPC ranchers developed in the first game. You will appreciate their characters more in Slime Rancher 2. So this kind of just confirms that the NPC ranchers are going to come back. Now, we already knew this from an article in the past, but yeah, we already know that Victor Humphreys is definitely coming back, and probably a few more like Ogden or Machi, for example. And this part is the one that kind of hit me like a sledgehammer. Are there notable missing features from the early access game preview release of Slime Rancher 2 that were present in Slime Rancher? Yes. Achievements will not be implemented until we are closer to full release. We already knew this when he actually made some type of article with true achievements. I covered it in the past. But what also is a big no-no for me is automation drones will also not be available at our initial launch. Much like they were not in the original Slime Rancher, drones will return in a future update and be refined for Slime Rancher 2, expanding on their potential. Now, first of all, I played Slime Rancher before drones were a thing, and honestly, the moment you got drones, you don't want to live without them. So this is going to be rough, in my opinion. But on the other hand, it's really good to hear that they are going to be expanding on their potential. So maybe we can actually do some more things with them. Maybe we are going to see the, kind of even more advanced drone. And after that, of course, he repeats once again that the game story will not yet be complete on initial release. But there will be some beginnings of it in the clues you can discover in the environment and conversations with NPCs via the comm station. So that's probably the machine that we saw in the second trailer and didn't really have a name for. So that's probably going to be the comm station. And then we have questions like, does Slime Rancher 2 feel like the original game? Yes, they went through a lot of effort to recreate that, that feeling of, herding some cute slimes, despite the significant improvement to our rendering, density of the world UI, slime jiggliness, etc. But with future updates taking Beatrix places she's never been with, features we have never done before, so that way they are going to aim, kind of shake things up a little bit more, but still retain that original Slime Rancher feeling. And then of course we have that one question about multiplayer that a lot of people haven't read yet, but I covered it in the past. Slime Rancher will not support multiplayer, so they are just focusing on creating the great single player experience and do not have any plans for multiplayer at this time. Due to the Slime Rancher physics also makes multiplayer a very challenging proposition at the level of quality we expect at Monowi Park. However, anything is possible in the future, and if our plans change, we will be sure to let the community know, but once again, don't count on it. And then of course, how can you stay up to date on everything Slime Rancher 2 development related? Well, basically you can sign up to the newsletter or just follow the official Twitter account or just subscribe to the channel. I mean, that way you would actually know things like, for example, angular slimes can blind you. I mean, just check out this video right here, but don't click on it just yet. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on everything Slime Rancher related. Thanks for watching and I'll see you over there.